Hello everyone, welcome to another adventure with us. Today we are in St. Augustine, Florida. This is the first time I've ever been to St. Augustine, Florida. I've been trying to get Erica to allow us to skip the theme parks one time and explore something else when it comes to Florida. I've always been fascinated with St. Augustine only because it's always been told that St. Augustine is the oldest town in America. Founded in the early 1500s by Ponce de Leon and Christopher Columbus. They discovered the Fountain of Youth here, and they placed the first settlement. The oldest town in America is, well, until they rewrite history, of course, and they discover more things. But as of right now, it's the oldest town in America. And I wanted to come see everything. This is the Old Spanish Trail 0 milestone. And that looks like the plaque used to be here. Right behind you is actually the old cemetery. These are all people that died in 1821 from the yellow fever. Right across the way is the fort that unfortunately we will not be able to go to. It is closed due to the COVID.
The school itself was built sometime before 1763.
During the first Spanish period.
Very good, Johnny. The school is built of cypress and cedar with handmade nails and wooden pegs. This is the oldest wooden structure in St. Augustine, and it has never been reconstructed.
The first pupils were Menorcan. They came here to learn English. Now we learn arithmetic and other stuff as well as reading and writing.
Some boys and girls learn their arithmetic, Johnny. Johnny did not do his homework. He hasn't learned his 6 times multiplication table, and that's why he's wearing the dunce cap.
But Professor, I had to chop wood last night to bring to school.
I see.
This chain that runs through the top of the school is how they would anchor the house during hurricanes. That was their one line of protection. some of the original coquina. So we actually found an indoor shop area. We found an indoor shop area. Oh.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding?
We got a magic hat. It's like a 10-degree difference in here from out there. Steampunk stuff. That's pretty neat. I've never seen a steampunk store before. So I was looking around, like, is that like witch stuff, or? And then it said steampunk. Oh yeah, hot sauces. Ooh, swords.
When we're in here in Seattle, the waterfront,
Uh-huh.
when you go through the inside and it's got all the shops.
Oh yeah. Look at that pirate sword.
Well, the cannons that you see scattered around the parks and plazas here are cannons that were once used in the Castillo. And you'll notice that some of them have cannonballs all welded together in a pyramid form, like this one coming up on the left side. You'll find it's guarded by a coquina archway. And that's because it's one of 22 original streets from our town plan, and it still retains much of its colonial character. You'll find art galleries and restaurants along the way there. You'll also find the Spanish Military Hospital Museum there. I will tell you that is a pretty macabre demonstration. I cringed several times at their presentation, but very interesting nonetheless. Particularly if you are... is a statue of the Ponce de Leon. He is pointing his way back to Spain. Now that is a life-size statue of the Ponce de Leon, and the statue stands at 5'6", but that includes the plumed hat and heeled boots, because Ponce de Leon was only 4'11". And he must have thought all the locals who encountered here were giants. Their average height was between 5.5 and 6 feet tall. He went out in search of the fountain of youth, but perhaps we should have went looking for the fountain of height. House, and this is the oldest house in St. Augustine, not the United States, even though we are the longest continuously occupied European settlement here. And the reason for that is in 1702, British General Moore came from the Carolinas and tried to capture the city. He was unsuccessful. His last order before retreating was to set fire to all the buildings here. If he couldn't have the city, well, no one could, and as a result, we have no homes or buildings that predate 1702, with the exception of the Castillo de San Marcos. I can take a guided tour of the oldest house conducted by the St. Augustine Historical Society here. Here's that bell for you. This is your stop. This is stop number 16 for the oldest house. Remember to back down using those upright handles for support. When we became a U.S. territory, once a naval base, today it's the headquarters for the Florida National Guard. Now we get a great view of the historic Bridge Alliance here on the right, and we'll talk a little bit about it more here in a minute. Talk about the Santa Maria restaurant first, that building in front of it. It's actually not part of the tour, but you can't help but notice this building that's about to fall into the bay. Perhaps I can satisfy your curiosity. It was in pretty sad shape, really tired before Hurricane Matthew hit. But Matthew absolutely devastated the Santa Maria, and the building was condemned after that. Matthew did a lot of damage to the buildings here on the bayfront, and a lot of the private homes were raised up on stilts because of that. The owners, of course, would like to rebuild, and historically, St. Augustine has had a building built out over the bay, an inn or a restaurant of some sort, even a bathhouse at one time. But the owners had some permitting problems. They wanted to add moorage, so there was a concern about the additional marine traffic that would create. And just like with any other project here in St. Augustine, the question is always, where will the cars park? They did finally get their permit. It wasn't until Dr. Anderson donated those 2 Carrera marble lions, and they were installed in front of the bridge, that the name bridge lines became obvious. The bridge is coincidentally 1,565 feet long. That was not planned, and that is a coincidence, of course, because the city was founded in the year 1565. The bridge was rebuilt between 2000 and 2006, but it still remains on the National Register of Historic Places. That's because of the 4 turrets in the center. Those are the original turrets. They were only refurbished. The 2 lines in front of the bridge are called Firm and Faithful, but don't ask me which one is which because I can't tell them apart. Here on the left you'll see St. Augustine's one and only skyscraper, the Exchange Bank. Built in 1927, it's really not all that tall, but it stands slightly taller than the bell tower on the cathedral. And that caused so much of an uproar, the city council enacted an ordinance indicating buildings could not be taller than 35 feet. They wanted to preserve the historic skyline here, and I think they've done a fine job of that. On the far right there, where the water meets the sky, that's the entrance to the Atlantic Ocean. It was completed in 1695. It's built around a square. Walls are approximately 320 feet long, about 30 feet tall, 15 feet thick at the base, and 5 feet thick at the top. Notice the remnants of white plaster on the walls there. And you might be able to pick out the red paint on that corner tower. Well, the entire Castillo was plastered white, and all the towers painted red when the Spanish held the Castillo, and it resembled the Spanish military flag. The St. Andrew's cross, it's that red cross on the white background, typically flies above the Castillo when it's open, but it's also the basis for the Florida state flag. Now the Spanish didn't plaster that brings the Warden Castle here. That's that evidence of poured concrete. Warden Castle is another beautiful example of that poured concrete architecture. Folks, if this is your stop, I'll ring the bell for you here. Just remember to back down as you would that ladder using those uprights and handholds for support. Watch your head, watch your step.
No, it's crowded. Here, Brady, up here. Shelby.
Great cross gifted to the city by the diocese to help celebrate our 400th anniversary. It is 208 feet tall. It weighs 70 tons, made out of stainless steel and filled with concrete at the base. Any taller, we'd have to put a light on the top to warn aircraft pilots. Now it marks the landing spot of Pedro Menendez and the first Catholic Mass that was held here September 8, 1565. Menendez was a very devout Catholic, and he actually sighted land 11 days prior to making landfall. That was August 28th, the feast day of St. Augustine. That's how the city got its name. Menendez came across, they had that first Catholic Mass, and that was the introduction of Christianity to the New World here. And here you'll find the Mission Nombre de Dios Museum, Our Lady of La Leche Marian Shrine dedicated to the Virgin Mary, Prince of Peace Votive Church, all the prayers there dedicated to world peace, and a Catholic cemetery you can walk through. And there's that bell. If this is your stop, this will be number 20 for the Mission Nombre de Dios. These look all shriveled and dry. They look like they are dying or dead, but they're just dormant, waiting for the rain to come. And as soon as we do get some rain, within a few hours, they spring up all lush and green once more. Anybody have any guesses as to why we would call him the old senator? Well, because he's shady and crooked, and he stands around all day doing nothing. Yeah, it's a bit of an insult. Morocco and Indians showed the Spanish how to make a silver tabby, and that's a composite of shells and sand, and some of the shells will need to burn to make the lime to make it all stick together. Now we need some of our oldest homes with those that have a tabby poured floor, and they grind the shells up much finer to make the floor, but purposely use whole shells to build the wall. Put all the sharp edges on the outside like that, as it acts as a great deterrent. Anybody trying to scale that wall will get cut up pretty badly.
top floor where deputies sleep. Bottom floor sheriff entertains. High profile folk like politicians, but we don't think there's an old oogle at it. Let's go. Yes, Buster Shade over here. Hey, you are prisoners at St. John's County Jail, which means you get your own section of the jail to yourself. Now, I guarantee you can tell which side is yours. All you gotta do is look at the windows. We don't get the fancy glass. It's too nice for us. We get the metal bars. Whatever the weather is outside, same inside. The weather's not our problem. It's all them bugs and critters. Check your cell every night. You don't want to wake up and find a new cellmate slowly slithering its way up your body in the darkness and making weird rattling noises. Now, the last topic outdoors is right here. Y'all, swing on down and let's hang out for their death row. See, on the morning of his hanging, he was found passed out on the floor. And that's the problem. Apparently, it's difficult to hang someone if you can't get them up right to put the noose on their neck. But Sheriff Joe Perry, he ain't about to go outside to an entire town of folk. Started asking everyone to go home because the prisoner is sleeping. He told the deputies to get the body up there and wait, he'd be right back, so they did. Sheriff ran off to a field yonder to a construction site. Found himself a good-sized board, took it up there, laid it down next to Charles, strapped his body to it. And then they stood him in the air, stiff as a board. But when they got him up right to put the noose on, they yanked the lever to watch him fall. It was at that moment they realized they had made a horrible mistake. In all the eagerness to kill Charles, nobody stopped and thought maybe they should check the rope, see if it could hold the extra weight of the board. It couldn't. The rope snapped in two. Charles hit the ground with so much force. His body broke free from the board, catapulted him into the air, hit the ground again. He rolled all the way out to the crowd, stopping right there at their feet. He's not there right now. Oh my gosh. Seriously, both of you just looked at the ground to see if there's a body laying there that you didn't notice a moment ago. Really? Sir, you were doing so good up till now. I didn't even mention you, and now you're
today, but unfortunately it's falling apart. You can see by the sign to our left, it is up for sale. Wish somebody would buy it and restore it. We're going to get a better view of it to our front left here in a moment. You look right through the front gate here in a moment. It's a shame to see something that has so much potential to be so beautiful that's slowly falling apart. Back there. Real estate agent, somebody's paying to have that grass cut while it's on the market. But you can see it's a jungle just about everywhere else in there. Now back in the day, that was owned by P.B. Dumas. Now he was the half-brother of Alexander Dumas, the one who wrote the Count of Monte Cristo and the Three Musketeers. Down there, number 2. The Bahia under Railroad Bridge and also the Long Key Viaduct are still standing down there today. Unfortunately, Flagler did pass away 1 year later in 1913 at the age of 83. On your left side of the trolley behind the white picket fence is the Markland Orange Grove Plantation. Again, no orange trees here. They all died off through the same heavy trees after one that died off at the other plantation. Folks, as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful. It's owned by the Flagler College now, and they're taking great care of it. But back in the day, this was owned by Clarissa Anderson and her son, Dr. Andrew Anderson. Dr. Andrew Anderson was a good friend of Flagler. He was also Flagler's personal physician and also a former mayor here in St. Augustine. His name will come up 2 more times later in the tour. We made a big circle on the tour. Folks are going to come right back by. Stop number 9, the Villa Zareta, Mr. Franklin Smith, the first one. With the
You want to try it?
the landings and I'm out of breath. I've got a couple more to go, but I'm taking my time and taking a break at each landing.